Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. I'm recording really early this morning, and if you're watching the video and you're like, oh, Shelby, you look tired. Well, team, it's because I am tired. So if you want to see me be tired on camera, come hang out with us on YouTube. We put all of the video recordings of our podcast up on YouTube, and I was thinking about how to kick off this solo episode today, and right now, as I'm recording, you guys are going to be listening to this in the future because I'm getting ready for maternity leave and trying to be diligent in making sure that our regularly scheduled programming goes out even when I'm on maternity leave. And I have a moment to be proud. I recorded all of my 2024 podcast episodes, my solo ones at least. I was done like 30 days ago. It's currently like almost November right now. And now I'm recording all the way into January. And if you've been here for any amount of time, you know that that's not really Shelby's style. And planning months and months in advance to this degree. So I do want to start by tooting my own horn and patting myself on the back here. And also, team, just coming in with some an honest check-in of I'm 31 weeks pregnant this week, and this week has kicked my butt. I'm tired. I can't walk. Any of you who have had the symphysis pubis dysfunction get it. In pregnancy, it's where literally your pelvis rocks around in the most unnatural way, and your pubic joint is a little bit too relaxed. And so it makes your pelvis feel incredibly unstable. And I've had this with every single pregnancy. I'm doing all the things. And by the time you hear this, my baby will be here and this problem will have gone away. But oh my gosh, just this week alone has kicked my booty in the pregnancy department. And to be honest, in the tech department of our business. And so I'm just excited to be here this morning and do something I know how to do and talk about something that I know what the heck I'm talking about so that I can get an easy little dopamine boost this morning. And then it's off to the races. I'm going to record this. I have a doctor's appointment this morning. We're hosting a workshop later this morning, and we're just going to party it out. It's Friday. So earlier this week, I was talking to a nurse coach who scheduled a call with us, and she's been in business for 15 months, I believe. And on her form that she filled out for me before she hopped on, she was saying I've done everything and I have no paid clients. And I won't lie, this is usually a red flag for me because I'm really, everything? Even I haven't done everything. Not everything I could think of to create paid clients. And yeah, I'm cautious whenever I hear things in black and white like that. But nonetheless, we get on a call and she's super sweet. She's super passionate. She's all the things that nurse coaches are, just has a bleeding heart for the population that she wants to work with. And she has done a lot of things. She's hired 3 different business coaches, so she hasn't gone at it solo. She has made the website, made professional Instagram. She has, I don't know if she made a flyer, but she thought about it. And she's telling me all these things, right? And again, if you've listened to our podcast, you probably can guess where I'm going to go next with my advice. But I don't like to be an a-hole on these calls. And I do want to acknowledge that those things take work, and it is frustrating when they don't work and not come in with the Shelby expert train. So I was like, okay, this is all a great start, but can you also tell me how much you have coached in the past 15 months? Like, how many hours have you coached? And she goes, I can maybe count on one hand how many hours I have coached. I was like, okay, can you tell me more about that? Like, by choice, not by choice? Like, how do we invite people? Just being more curious and um, trying to gather some more data. And she was like, Shelby, I can't even get people to say yes to a free coaching call. I was like, okay. Again, interesting. I was like, can you tell me how specifically you invite people to coaching conversations with you? And she was like, I post on Instagram. I was like, great. What's your Instagram? And I looked up her Instagram. Very, very small following because it's a new account, like less than 100 people. And I was like, okay, have you reached out and connected directly with any of these humans? Talked to them in Messenger, sent them a voice memo, offered directly, like, hey, I would love to gift you a session. And the answer was no. And so I told her, and she has had some calls, and so I asked how those went, and I was like, how did the sales process go? How did the proposal go? And she goes, well, I would talk to them for the first call, and then they would say something to the effect of, this has been so great. Thank you so much. I'm feeling so good. And she's like, I didn't feel like I could offer them anything. They felt complete. And this is probably worth its own podcast episode of like when to know you're overdoing it on your first call with a client. There's a lot of strategy behind those first two calls with people, kind of as we're assessing and getting to know and seeing if we can help them and if we're going to make a proposal. And I used to do this all the time as a new coach, to where I would just, especially when I first started business coaching, people would get on and be like, I can't create clients. And then I would just talk at them for 45 minutes, tell them everything I could cram into that 45 minutes. And then they would feel good. They would feel like they had a plan, even though I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. The how was just the tip of the iceberg, and the work that we could do together was so much deeper. But in that moment, they felt complete, and so making a proposal felt weird or pushy or icky. And um, yeah, looking back on that, I'm like, well, of course they felt that way. Of course they felt complete. Of course proposals felt weird. You basically talked at them PowerPoint presentation style for 45 minutes, and they're probably good for like 3 or 4 weeks to go try and do all the stuff that you told them. Anyway, so immediately I'm like, all right, here's what I see. We need to be coaching more hours, coaching at all costs. She had a pretty well defined niche, but I was like, anyone who says yes right now, coach a tree, coach your mom, an old coworker, be relentless in getting to 100 hours of coaching as quickly as possible. Most people do this by 2 or 3 free sessions a week. And she was like, okay. And um, then I was like, second, we need to have some sales training. We need to, um, we need to have some strategy on how to set up those calls, how to keep you in leadership, how to guide somebody through a process so that investing in coaching makes sense. And it's not like a time for money situation to where they're like paying you hourly, but that they can see the bigger vision of what it's like to work together. And we need to upgrade how we invite people directly. We need to be connecting and talking with real people in real time. We need to be creating the opportunities for direct invites. Posting on social media is part one. And even in my own practice, most people say yes to calls because I've directly invited them some way, shape, or form, through an email, through a text message, through a Facebook message. Like, the amount of connecting Laura and I do on a weekly basis is insane. It's totally insane. There would be no way that we could keep up with it if it was just one of us. But I'm connecting and touching base and potentially inviting probably 40 to 50 people a week. 40 to 50. And if you guys want a deeper episode on like what that looks like in our business, let me know. I'll be happy to talk about it more. But there's this theme that I'm seeing lately of people who have been in been in business for close to a year, a little over a year. They're getting frustrated, they're getting lost. They might have listened to a couple episodes of our podcast, or maybe they haven't even heard of us at all, or they hired a different coach first. And I'm not here to like talk shit on any other coach ever. I think that hiring a coach is a great idea. And oftentimes people don't even have anything bad to say about their first coach. It's just they're missing a piece of the puzzle. They're looking for more specific business coaching. And whenever I run through this quick assessment with people, here's three things that stick out is that usually they have coached less than 20 hours, most less than 10. 20 is being generous, but most less than 10 in a year. They are counting as posting on social media, like book a call with me, or if you're interested, DM me as an invite. And it's not an invite. An invite is like face to face, voice memo to voice memo, message to message. It's not a shout into the oblivion. It is a direct, intimate invitation into a coaching session. And they don't have adequate sales training. We're kind of walking in blind. And I don't even love to call it like sales training, because I know that for me, it's gross to call it sales training, but I don't have a better phrase for it at the time, team. The successful nurse coach method, the art of connecting with humans, of inviting humans, of holding powerful space. All of that is a part of our sales technique inside of our course and what we train you on, and allows us to first give and serve and then propose if there is space to work together. I've actually been telling a lot of people this week to stop proposing. If you're thinking like, I should propose to them or I could help them, like that's not a good enough reason. And again, we get into why that is inside of our course. It's an energetics thing. So for this particular conversation, we get to the end. I tell her my mini assessment. I said, what do you think? What do you think about talking to humans? What do you think about reaching out? What do you think? What do you think? And she goes, I was really hoping that you were going to tell me something different that I could try. And what I'm hearing is that there's nothing else to do. And this comment really took me off guard because I was like, oh, no, we have so many things that we can try. But I could sense that she was feeling defeated and tired and overwhelmed and just like kind of at that moment when you're on your knees shaking your hands at the sky of like, why is this so hard? Help me. I'm trying. And in that moment, I was like, can I be very direct here? She goes, sure. I was like, we have so many levers left to pull, so many levers. And where we could upgrade the most is your follow through. Because right now, we're kind of trying. We're not fully trying, or we're not doing like the most potent action to try. And if we are looking for proof that this shouldn't work, that you should have a way out, that this is too hard, and we keep at it with this strategy, you will find it. You will find reasons to quit under this current strategy. But I'm seeing us like put 20 to 30% into the equation, hoping for 100% outcome. And I'm telling you that it is very clear to me on what we could do next. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't tell you that. I would tell you different advice. Like I'm not in the business of lying straight to your face. And I could tell that it like kind of landed, kind of didn't. And so I backed off a little bit, right? Of like, this is where, and when you're talking with people, this is where I can start to feel salesy or pushy. If you can just like read that it's not the time or the place to like go for a hard proposal or like a, we can do this, rah, 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 pep talk. I could just sense that she was in a different place. And there's two options here. I've had a variation of this conversation over the years, and there's two different ways this could go. Is I give someone of like, yeah, this is what you've been trying. This is what we can try. I see a lot of potential here. Like we've barely even cracked the surface. And someone was like, oh my God, yes, thank you. Or someone's like, but what if it doesn't work? Everything else already hasn't worked. It feels like I've put in so much time, energy, and effort, and it's just not working. And there's a difference in mindset there. One is a growth mindset, and one is a fixed mindset. And magic can really only happen under a growth mindset. We have to opt into that. We have to choose that. And to paint another picture through another story here, I also was talking a few months ago with another nurse who's been in business for a similar amount of time, a little over a year. And she found our podcast. She listened to a few episodes. And also, team, if you guys have nurse coach friends and they don't know about our podcast, at least do them the favor and send them this ginormous free resource so that they know of all of their options sooner. And like, they don't have to be like these nurse coaches that have been spinning their wheels wondering what the heck to do next. We tell you everything. Go back to like episode 6. We tell you the whole successful nurse coach method in here. But she was talking to me, and all the things. So she's debriefing me on all the things she's done. She actually has had a few paid clients. She did hire a coach that wasn't a nurse coach and not really a business coach either, but like a coach that was able to help her get started. And she had run a few beta groups, and she was having traction, but she was ready. She was ready to upgrade. She was ready to be back in a community that understands her, a community of nurse coaches. I was like, hell yeah, like, we got you. Come join us in the mentorship. And she literally joined the day before it started. She bought one of those last minute tickets, and I actually was on a call with her yesterday, and she was saying, like, I had for so long, all of the advice I was given was like manipulative marketing advice, and it just felt so gross. And now that I'm here, I have really a system that I'm really in alignment with, a way that I'm really in alignment with. And she signed clients already. We just started over a month ago, and she's already rocking and rolling. So there is 2 very similar stories and 2 different mindsets here, team. They almost got the same set of circumstances, and you are in charge of your own train here on where you want to drive it. And for that first nurse coach, I really just left the ball in her court. I gave her quite a bit of homework. I told her to read The Prosperous Coach. I told her to listen to our podcast because she hadn't listened to a lot of it yet. And I told her to check in on her in a few weeks of like, hey, if you do this homework and you are feeling called and you want to give it one last good try, we can absolutely help you. But that's up to you. Like, I can't want it for you. I understand that it's been a low dopamine experience for the past 12 months, and it's challenging, and you're being asked to double down. But like, balls in your court. And I'm excited to see where that ends up playing out. But if you are listening to this episode thinking, or you clicked on this episode thinking like, Shelby, I have done everything, I want you to do an honest evaluation of like, have you really done everything? Truly everything. And at the beginning of this episode, I even said, like, I haven't done everything. I haven't. There are levers that I am saving for a rainy day, to where if it really hit the fan, like, that is the one I'm going to go pull over there. But have you really done everything? Because that's a very convenient excuse. It's a very convenient excuse. And our ego, to bring the subconscious into it here, because I can't help myself, is always looking to keep us safe, to keep us small, to keep us secure, even if that means staying in this like disempowered state, even if it means not trying something new because it's scary, or even if it means I can't try one more time because it's going to hurt too much. What if I really fail this time? And the familiar discomfort of your current situation, likely feels more comfortable to your ego than the potential of the unknown, than the potential of success, than the potential of you trying and what that could mean. And I really want you to evaluate your numbers. Whenever we have clients who tell me this, and I always want you to tell me this is not like a shame game to where I don't want you to speak up, but whenever like it's not working, I'm like, all right, tell me your numbers. How many people have you connected with this week? How many people have you coached this week? How many proposals did you make this month? What income generating activity have you focused on? Have you hosted a workshop? Have you texted every old friend in your phone or on Facebook? And you might be cringing or your stomach might be dropping there. And I totally acknowledge that 100%. But you have a gift as a coach. You would not be listening to this podcast if you didn't care about helping people in some way, shape, or form. And in order to help people, we just have to talk to humans. We have to. We have to, we have to, we have to. So run through these questions. How many times have you sent a message, an email, a text message first this month? How many times have you outreached to someone this month? And this could be like a, hey, Kristen, how are you? I've been thinking about you. This can be a, hey, Heather, I saw you commented on my Facebook post. Thanks so much for my support. This can be, hey, Kate, I saw that, your daughter just went to kindergarten. How are you doing? Mine too. Whatever the connection looks like, creating spaces for invites. And then how many invites have you done? I was talking to a nurse coach yesterday who's done 20 invites in like the past 2 weeks, which is great. So good. None of them has said yes to coaching, which we talked about on the call. I was like, there's something up. We should have, if you're doing 20 invites, statistically, we should at least have 2 calls, if not 5 or 7. So we worked through that on the call. And then how many coaching hours have you done? Goals here, 2 to 3 hours a week of free coaching. First conversations to chip away at that 100 hours of coaching. And then if you're like, Shelby, yes, I have connected with 50 people. I've invited 20 of them. I have 4 calls booked over the next 2 weeks. Awesome. Go do a happy dance. Go freak out. This is like the best news ever. Champagne problems. Then now we get to work on something else in your business for a few days. Now we can do something else. We can work on that freebie. We can work on that flyer. We can work on your ideal client or your offer or your niche. We can like start to chip away at these other things. But that is the metric. Do you have 4 calls over the next 2 weeks? At least. And if not, circle back, team. Connect, invite. Connect, invite, connect, invite, connect, invite. If you are listening to this and you're like, Shelby, I've honestly done all those things. Message me. Would love to give you a free session. Would love to. There are small exceptions to this rule to where you genuinely have done everything and you've even made it to as far as the proposals and they're just not landing. It's usually an energetic thing, usually a mindset thing. Happy to coach you around that. So let me know if that's you. But I want proof. If you message me and say, I've done everything, I want proof. Send me numbers. How many connections have you made in the past 4 weeks? How many hours have you coached? How many invites have you made? How many Facebook posts or emails or text messages have you done? You're gonna have to show receipts for me to qualify, or else I'm gonna point you back to this episode and say, go do exactly what I said here. All right, team. This has been pretty ranty this morning. I appreciate you hanging in there and being here with me. And yeah, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. If you're listening to this and you've been in business for over a year and you haven't had a big win, it is time for you to have a big win. And it is time for you to do the right work necessary for the big win. I promise you're not going to create a magical email. I promise you're not going to create a magical Facebook post where people are going to show up in your DMs and throw their credit card at you. Coaching is a relationship built business. It is an organic built business. Especially in the beginning. It requires your time and energy and connection in order to build it. All right, folks. Sending you lots of love. See you same time, same place next week. Toodles.